Yo, let's see. No one is on as far as I can tell. Either way, I know a lot of you watch this afterwards because I always hear you guys watch the replays. So anyway, I will get started. There's not a lot of questions, so this might actually be pretty quick. And you'll notice I've done a few of these. This is the first time I'm outside because it's very inauthentic when I'm inside, because those that know me know that I do not like to be inside. I'm always outside. All right, so let's get started. First question is from, it says here, name of submitter is Keisha and Jazz, last name Fox. And that question is, most small businesses are not in a situation to throw $2,500 to $12,500 a day at advertising. So we live vicariously through those of you who can afford it, with the hopes that one day we will have the resources. Until then, we are bootstrapping it. Based on your work and time spent with creative agencies to get your brand to where it is now, please share critical advertising campaign elements and strategies implemented along the way that you believe have been key to the success of your advertising efforts. Okay, so the fact that you cannot afford right now to pay for this and hire these agencies just means that you're going to be doing it yourself. The interesting thing is that I found that most agencies we've hired in the past have not done things that great. A lot of it, in my opinion, I've said this over and over, is smoke and mirrors, and they're selling us snake oil. It's very hard to see what's really happening, and if you can attribute results to their efforts, or is it to something else. So be happy that you can't afford it right now, believe it or not, as counterintuitive as that may sound, because you're going to dig in and do things yourself. And once you get a little bit of money and you want to try it, go ahead and try having them have a crack at it and see if they can beat what you're doing. I can tell you this thing. We have overseas folks that work for us. I wouldn't call them a marketing company. They're really in-house. They've been on retainer for 7 years, and they do a lot of our things. Well, for a while, we hired an agency out of New York, and this is what they do. They were really good in one of our niche areas that we have businesses in, and we were promised the world. Well, none of that happened, and we had our guys, our internal guys, which are outsourced, but still, it's almost like they're part of our team internally. We had them give it a crack, and they did way better. Our ROAS, I think, was 3 times better than with a specialized company out in New York that did this for a living. So, you know, as far as what works, I'll tell you the things that have worked for us, and everybody's story is unique, and there's takeaways on how to do things that might work because someone told you a story and you can get something out of that, and I could tell you a different story and you can get something out of that. We built our brands initially by being in the wholesale business. We would wholesale and sell to stores, and that started creating brand awareness. They got it in front of customers, and eventually millions of customers saw our products. And then when we switched it on, put our shopping carts on, and started going direct to consumer, that's how we got in front of a lot of people. What works the best for us, though, as far as ad spend, has been retargeting people. Anybody who abandons a cart or leaves the site without purchasing, obviously that's a high intent person. They have a high intention to buy. They were on the site, especially if they got to the checkout page. So we will spend the money there to go after them. This kind of low-lying fruit that we definitely want to capture. So I hope that helps. The more specific these questions can be, obviously, the more I can try to share a story of something I've done in my last 20 or 25 years that you could relate to. So it's kind of hard to just throw it out there. But if I know a little bit more detail, I would be able to maybe have a little bit more direction there. So I apologize. Sometimes I can't answer in too much detail because I'd just be speculating on exactly what you mean or what your needs are. These are very specific. Think about it. There's no like one way to do things. So the more you can share information more directly, that would help. Okay, another question. Same folks, Keisha and Jazz, last name Fox. I want to send a testimonial request email to past customers. I'd like to segment by product purchase, asking specifically how the product is working / making a difference for them. Then repurpose feedback in marketing efforts and on our site. I want to make sure I can use any info and photos they submit. To that end, I plan to include a question asking if I can use their submissions in this way. By the way, I don't think you have to ask a question for that. Why complicate matters and scare people away? Why not just say we will use your answers in this way, and that way You've already said it, and if they want to answer it, they do, they don't. Otherwise, they're going to answer it, and then at the end say, no, you can't use my information. Just say, we will be using it for that, or we may use it for that. Let's see. And then furthermore, any tips on how to ensure my customers engage with the email? Should I send a prep email first, stating a testimonial request is coming, and ask them if they want to participate, or should I just send it with no warning? What other information should I include to ensure they understand the importance of the information? Should I include a deadline? Well, all of this is serving you. I don't know what any of this does for the customer. So you're trying to convince the customer of something. What are you going to do for them? Offer them that you're going to put them in the running for a free gift. And as far as warning them before you sending them a question or sending them an email telling them you're going to be sending them an email, absolutely not. That sounds crazy to me. It's like you're going to ask somebody to marry you, and you're going to tell them the week before, hey, I will be asking you. Just ask them the question. It's not that big a deal. You're just sending a survey. I get surveys every day. If somebody told me, hey, be on the lookout, we're going to be sending you an email that's going to be a survey, that's not too big of a deal. Just ask the question. As far as getting them to engage, offer them something. People love free stuff. Put them in a running, we're going to choose someone from this, or we're closing this at 50 people. And once we hit 50, we're going to choose one person. Probably, I don't know how big your business is, how big your mailing list is. If you don't get to 50, then you don't choose a person. Just some thoughts. You can try different things. Yeah, include a deadline. Sure, if you're offering something for free. If you're not, then who cares? You can give a deadline. If you're not giving me anything, what does it matter if I do it or don't do it? All right, hope that helps. And, wow, you guys have a lot of questions. The same people. Keisha and Jazz, last name Fox. It's the third question. All right, let's see. Oh, this one's very long, and I'm a slow reader, and a bad reader too. Let's see. We found a need in the entrepreneurial community. As members in forums and startup entrepreneurs, we notice that many doubt themselves a lot. I think you're absolutely right there. So we launched a business making affirmation products geared specifically toward entrepreneurs. As entrepreneurs ourselves, we find pleasure going into the community, talking face-to-face with our audience. We rely heavily on the pop-up shop retail model. With over 40 plus retail events held, we've learned more about what our audience wants and what our audience is. Our new products come from the minds of our audience. Our business has morphed as we've realized that mindset is more of an entrepreneur's problem. I 100% agree with that. If I had to describe myself as what kind of a coach I am, I'm a mindset coach. Absolutely, you're absolutely right there. It's all about mindset. I've always said this: success or failure, the difference is right here. There's no other thing. It's not about getting lucky, and it's all here, because the luck will present itself, or the opportunities will present itself. But if you're not good here, you're not going to see it. All right, sorry. So now our experience in retail locations cater to entrepreneurial spirits and the career person. AO is big about getting out there and selling, and that's absolutely right. I see that here a lot. We've been doing it and are putting our feet on the gas pedal in 2020 to double our efforts this year. We are 17 months in business, and already I feel like the return on effort can be much higher in a B2B B2C, business to consumer model. We can reach more people and grow our business that way. Now I'm feeling overwhelmed and a little stuck because I know it's a better model for the reach of our business. Any advice for ways to fully assess what my guts tell me in making the switch? What process would you take to assess if we're ready for a B2B model? Wow. It's a long question, but to be honest, again, that's not you can go a million directions with this. This doesn't really tell me, number one, what you're selling, and you didn't really give any examples of, well, if we go to B2B, we could do this, and if we go B2C, we could do this. That's, again, I'm sure you have something great on your hands, Keisha and Jazz, but these questions aren't very direct, unfortunately. I need to understand a little bit more about what it is you do, how you're going to reach these people. It's kind of like, when an employee comes to me with a problem, I kind of want to have them provide me some scenarios and say, well, here's the way we could go this way. I thought about this way. And then, man, that makes it a lot easier for me to answer, which, by the way, face to face, I always say, what would you do? What do you think about this? And I try not to just spit out an answer. This is tough. You are doing B2C, but you want to go B2B. As far as growing a business faster, it depends. I grew my business originally by going B2B and leveraging all these stores who were selling my items, gave them a great price, made sure they made money, and they minimum keystoned our products. Meaning, if I sold it to them for 7, I wanted them to at least sell it for 14 because I knew that was a competitive price, but hopefully they could sell it for more. And what that means is, if they're offering 20 brands, but my brand is the most profitable brand for them, then guess what? They're going to put it front and center. They're going to advertise it more. They're going to make sure they sell more of my brand. And then ultimately I won because of that. They got me in front of customers and I got brand recognition. But I made a mistake, I think, and ultimately, obviously, it worked out for me because we're now direct to consumer, which is better for cash flow, better for owning and controlling the client. Because those are the downsides. If you stay B2B, if you go B2B and you stay that route, you're not going to own customers. So I think a good combination is having stores sell your products and be out here pushing you and let them make money, even if you don't make a lot on that. That's a marketing ploy. You make money off the residue that comes over to your website. So when we sell products in the clothing space in my clothing companies, everything has our website on it, the packaging, the hang tag that has the barcode on it, even the care label inside on the size, where you flip it around, it says wash in cold water, blah, blah, blah. It has our website on it. So you could have bought it from ABC Company, who's a great customer of mine, has been selling products for me and bought millions of dollars over the years. But you're probably going to just look up the website the next time around and you'll buy directly from us. So I don't know exactly what your business is, and so I can't give any direct ideas on that, but consider that model where you can do both. So let's see the next question. I only see a couple more questions here, so this will end pretty quick unless any more questions go on here or on the screen there. And the next one's from my friend Edward Morgan in New Zealand. Let's see, I'll try to read. He says, as you know, I have a New Zealand-based e-commerce operation. Sales are 90% domestic, and I would like to make more international sales. Absolutely, Edward. New Zealand is a very small country, so if 90% of your sales are there and you're doing okay, imagine what you could do opening up the rest of the world, namely Australia, Europe, United States. Okay, I was planning to start selling on Amazon in the US and Australia to begin with. The alternative would be to establish a standalone site in one or both of these countries and use a fulfillment service for my orders from a warehouse based in these countries too. Obviously, there is a very similar idea. This is a very similar idea to selling on Amazon, except my products won't be displayed next to my competition on the same website. I can see pros and cons of going down either of these routes. Just wondering, which route do you think makes more financial sense? Well, Edward, in an ideal world, you're not limited to just one of these options. If you want the fastest approach, it's Amazon. Amazon's a machine and it's already built. You just have to put your products in there. And if you're going to fight for a buy box, I understand what you mean. You're just fighting your way down to zero because that's what Amazon does. You're competing with everybody to sell the exact same thing. However, if you're doing fulfillment by Amazon and you send it to their warehouses wherever, you instantly have a fulfillment center. You have customers and then traffic through Amazon. So it's a great way to test the market, get your feet wet without a massive investment. The alternative, B2C, directly without the marketplace, yes. One of the pros is you're going to own your customer. I think owning a customer is phenomenally important because I hope you're not selling them one time and that's it, like a gimmicky product that you sell one time. If you have a product that just keeps needing replenishment over the years, or you plan to add additional periphery items that go with that first item, then it's fantastic to own the customer. But you do have to set up a distribution center or a third-party fulfillment company. Take a look and see what you find in the US. We do fulfillment for a few companies. We might be able to offer you that here in North America. The only problem is it does have to be a good amount of volume, and that's what a lot of these are going to require, that there is volume. Especially, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, your products are very small. They don't take up a lot of room, which is fantastic. However, volume does need to be there in order to justify it for that fulfillment center, because they do want to make money. They want to make it, like in our case, we don't make it off the rent. We don't really care to just rent out space. That's not exciting for anybody. We want you to sell a ton if you're in our warehouse, because that means we're all making money. But yeah, if you could try both, great. Go after Amazon and start your own website and fulfill from that country, then I think that could be fantastic. But Edward, the previous question was about mindset. I really think that comes into play right here. Think big. You don't have to spend big, but think big as far as what the opportunities are and what could happen out there. I'm still amazed. I didn't know that you were 90% in New Zealand. Again, 90% in a tiny country. You have the whole world. You might be able to 100x your business. If you've got a good product and you could just reach more customers, imagine what that could do for your total sales and your profitability. Okay, next question happens to be from Edward as well. Let's see, and he says, I have a picking/packing assistant who makes errors on occasion, and I believe this is due to her dyslexia. Did you guys hear that? So I've run warehouses for about 15 years. Before that, I've always picked orders and packed when I started my business. Dyslexia is like the number one thing you can't have on a person who does picking and packing, but I will continue the question. There are some very similar product names, and she confuses with each other. Do you think the best solution for this would be to assign a specific number to each product instead? Have you had experience with this same problem? The double checks she does when comparing the packing list to the items obviously isn't working all the time. Edward, you got to demand a whole lot more from people, starting with yourself as the first person. You're the leader of the business. You're the CEO. I don't care if it's you and your cat. You're the CEO and you have to operate it like a CEO. First, try not to blame that person. Use their mistakes to improve your process. I had a COO for years, 9 years, who would call me in the beginning and complain to me about the employees and all their dumb mistakes, and he couldn't believe it and this and that. And I said, be grateful that they're doing that. We're going to build a machine better than anything anyone else has ever made. And that's why we've built tremendous software for warehouse management, software, inventory management that I think is better than anything on the market. And it's saved us hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. But what it's done mostly is that we've had over 5 years now, 0 picking errors, 0 shipping errors. We could have the dumbest person picking. They cannot make a mistake because our system is perfect. So you have to improve your system. Use this person's mistakes to assume that every human being will be this bad. Picking a dyslexic person is not the best, smartest thing for somebody that needs to pick and have attention to detail. But what you want is a system that even a dyslexic person can't mess up. So let's see. I don't know if you've got UPCs on your products, but in our warehouse, and I don't know if I've shown a video to you guys or I've showed it to a few people, but if you've seen the way our warehouse operates, it's all UPC. So you're scanning every single product up against whatever the order form. So you scan the order form. You could do it where it pops up on the screen, order pops up, and you have to scan the products. So that's an after the fact way of doing it. We do it as we pick. So as we walk through the warehouse, where our system tells us where to go, you get there, you pull the box, which tells you, you pull the product, you scan it, and it either ding, it worked, and it tells you where to put it on your cart, or it gives you an error. And that's why we catch every error at the moment they've touched the piece and they put it back and grab the new correct one. So it's all about the system. That COO that I had, after time, he saw that it worked out. Those people making errors, which by the way, those are humans. Humans suck, and I don't mean on a personal level, I mean on a performance level. Humans are not perfect. We make mistakes. We have things on our mind. We crisscross numbers. That person's never going to be happy. You're never going to be happy. There needs to be a system in place that is human-proof, that is dummy-proof. I think that's extremely important. And let's see. That's all. Those are all the questions here. So I guess you guys have figured it all out, and you know what's going on. And just kidding. You just don't have any questions right now, or I did not inspire any questions out of you. And I see a few people are on here. I see a few: Dennis Coolin, Brad Coleman, Joe Nugent, Dennis Coolin again. All right, well, then I'll share one quick thing with you, and then I'll let you go unless you have any other questions. But so today I was working with a client. He owns a product business here in Florida. He does over $25 million a year, phenomenal business. It's got its issues, which actually, let me mention that. When I say $25 million a year, you guys might be thinking, oh my God, that guy has it made. That's amazing, 25 million. I can't wait to be there. I know businesses, mine included, who actually don't do that much in top line revenue, but make a whole lot more in net profit, in EBITDA. So it's not always what it looks like on the outside. They say, and I say this often, that top line revenue is vanity, net profit is sanity, but cash is king. So cash is phenomenal. It's always important to have, but really, but the sanity comes from making profits and having that bottom line grow. Some people get excited about top line revenue. I personally do not. It just means more work and more stress. I just care about how much you make at the bottom. Anyway, in our call today, lasted about an hour and 5 minutes maybe, a big part of the focus turned into time management. So I'll share that with you. This CEO's concern was, how does he maximize his time? He wants to be making sure he's not wasting time. He's not big on social media. He doesn't waste time reading about whose dog died and who got new plants in their house or whatever you guys look on social media. That's not where he's wasting his time. But he is reading a lot of articles and news and things that ultimately, which by the way, it's fine if he really gets value out of it and he's happy with that. But he wasn't. He was saying, no, at the end, I read all these articles and I get nothing out of it. It doesn't make my life any better. I don't get any smarter. I just read things, right? So we worked on a few things, and he asked, well, what could I do if I had a 6-minute gap between this and this? And I asked him to give me an example, and he threw one of many examples where we have a few minutes where we could waste it on social media or reading the news or whatever people might do. And he said, I'll give you an example. I may be sitting on the couch with my older child, and in a few minutes he has to go to bed. And I've already put the little one to bed, and now the older one's going to go to bed in a few minutes. And I asked him, what do you do with that time normally? And what would your son be doing? And he said, well, my son would be sitting on the couch playing a video game on a tablet, and I would be sitting next to him looking on a phone. And I asked him if he was happy with that, if he's proud of that behavior. Because for me, that's how I question myself always. Am I proud of what I'm doing? If someone was watching me, would they think I'm doing the right thing? And someone I cared about, let's say my grandfather who died, if he was looking at me, would he be proud of what I'm doing? So I asked him something like that. And he says, no, absolutely not. I'm not proud that I'm sitting on a phone wasting my life away and my son's there. And I said, could you use those 6 minutes to do push-ups? And that hit him, because it's not what we teach our kids. Same with our employees, same with the people around us. It's not what we teach them and talk about. It's the example we set. So I said, what would happen if those 6 minutes were spent doing push-ups? Would you get any benefits out of it? Would the increased muscle, in his case, would the increased testosterone, would the strength, would the confidence that would build, would the example you'd be setting for your kids, would that make a difference to you at all? And he was stunned. And he said that conversation went in a direction he did not expect, and it blew him away. So, you know, the student hears the lesson or finds the teacher when he's ready. So I guess it hit him, and tonight he's going to be doing push-ups. So I shared with him, and I'll share with you, I firmly believe that people go after or follow us based on our behavior. It's not what we say. Words are empty if there's no action behind it. So I have 4 kids, and I talk to them about eating healthy, being smart, investing your money, all these important things. I talk about all that. But I make sure that all my good habits, I do it in front of them subtly. So I know I'm going to be doing push-ups in a few minutes because I'm about to get into the shower, and that's an example that I have, right? Like I do that every time I go to take a shower. I do 20, 30 push-ups. Well, I might walk around the house a little bit and find one of my kids and go down and start doing push-ups so he can walk by me in a minute or two, or my daughter can walk by. And I do that intentionally. I do the same things with employees. I want them to see that I have good habits, and I really do. I know I have very good habits, but I want to share that with the people who I want to influence as much as possible. So I'll just share that with you since we wrapped up the questions, I think. I'll see if there's any others, but hope that helps in some way. Oh, good. Here's a question from David Fitzmaurice. Hey, Joel, I have a question. I have a problem with supply due to the virus in China. I found more suppliers, but their minimum order quantities are way out of my budget. What do you think? What do you think I should do? I could wait out the virus, but not sure things will be back to normal. David, I'm glad you asked this. So today I had my forum meeting. That's EO, Entrepreneur Organization, and it's a group of 9 of us. I'm in 2 forums. This is a retail forum. We all have products in this forum, and we have some heavy hitters, big names in that group that I love being with them. And one of them today explained to us a story that, a problem he's having right now. We're not there to tell stories. We're there to talk about our problems and how to fix them and help each other. So he got a, I don't know, $700,000 order from a subscription box for women and a very known big one, and they need it by a certain date. But his supplier in China cannot provide it. They're not going to do it. And he doesn't want to lose this order. And they just told him, you have until Friday to sign this purchase order. If you don't sign it, you don't get it. And he could lose $750,000 or somewhere around that. Well, oh, and by the way, if he signs it and accepts it and he doesn't fill that order, they're going to nail him. I mean, it'll cost him a pretty penny because he can't go against that PO. So, a lot of entrepreneurs are risky and they scramble and they figure things out, and he's scrappy. Even though he's done very well for himself, he's still scrappy. He got his agent in overseas in China to just start finding factories anywhere he could. The agent found him a factory in Taiwan who can not only make this for him, he can make it so much faster that it's going on boat. So he doesn't even have to air it, right? So boat from Taiwan to Los Angeles, that's a lot better than from China to Los Angeles on a plane, which is way more expensive. Now here's the beauty. He normally pays $1.20 for these items. I don't know, they retail for $10 or so. But with this size of an order, China was going to do it for 95 cents. But look how great this all worked out. Sure, the coronavirus is horrible and it's hurting everything, but he is now getting it for 92 cents. He did not expect that. And now he just found a new supplier out of it. So when things are going really well, sometimes, I've had this myself, I've kind of wished, I'm not going to mess things up, but I kind of wish for a little shakeup. I want a little negativity. I want something to wake me up, kind of shake me and make me think twice and get a little bit more creative. When we're succeeding and things are just chugging along, we might do tiny little increments. I don't know if you can see that. My hand's barely going up like that. But when we're going pretty well and things go bad, that makes us wake up and hustle and be nimble and pick it up so that we can get to another level. And that's the example that I just heard a few hours ago sitting in my forum meeting. So there's a problem. You have a problem with the coronavirus. You found new suppliers, but the order quantities are way out of your budget. What else can you do? What can you figure out? This is what an entrepreneur does. This is what a CEO does. If you think this is a problem, wait till you get to 10 million. Wait till you get to 20 million. This is a problem you will laugh about later. So don't get caught up in this problem. I know it seems like the most overwhelming thing right now. I promise you there is a solution. There have been much bigger problems in my life and my business, and I've gotten through them, and I have a lot of friends with huge issues. In fact, in my next forum meeting, one of the topics we're going to talk about is, when did you get caught in a situation where your back was up against the wall and you didn't know what to do and it looked like the end of the world, and you came out of it and it actually came out better? I have multiple examples like that. So you're going to be okay. You just got to dig. Now you got to talk to everybody you know, dig around. If you know what you're looking for, you feel free to contact me. I don't manufacture much in China. Most of my stuff's in South America, but I can put you in touch and see if we can get you lower minimums through our factory or anywhere else. And I have other factories I can put you in touch with in South America. Price is not as low. However, there's no import tariffs, at least into the United States. I don't know where you are. And the quantities are lower normally than China. All right, let's see. Yeah, you're welcome, David. I saw your comment there. All right, guys, that's it. I sometimes wish this was like voice, because I know you guys would probably be more likely to ask questions or follow up on what I said. But anyway, thanks for joining me. We're in my backyard. I don't know where you guys are located, but it's winter time. It was about 83 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is, Celsius, maybe 28, I'm guessing, 29, something like that. Beautiful day here in South Florida, so I figured I'd be outside because I hate being inside at all times. All right, guys, have a great evening. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you. And for those of you that are going to two things that AO is putting on, I'm going to both of those. One is in April, Sean's sales seminar. I will be there and speaking, and as well as a bunch of the other coaches, and a lot of members are going to be there. So I look forward to seeing you there. And the other one is the South Florida meetup that just a few of us are getting together here in South Florida. Joe Nugent has been instrumental in putting that together, and we're looking forward to doing that real soon. All right, guys, have a good evening. Bye-bye.